Rejoice, everyone. We're back with another Sekhie Reacts to Fate. Today we're doing Caster of the Nightless City, or Scheherazade.
Hey, guess what, Knick-Knack? I bet I can guess what class this is.
Yeah, no, I bet you can too. Sorry, I have to pick whether or not to throw that out there or not.
Yeah, just like Assassin of the Nightless City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, as promised, we're back with ices.
I finished mine already because mine was melting really fast.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with yours.
Mine was like all syrup at the bottom.
Oh, I drank that first.
I tried to, but it melted faster than I was drinking it.
Yeah, so we have installment 3 of Sekhie's solo reviews.
The 1001 Arabian Nights.
I do, so I actually have this version that's, I think just selected tales. It's the one I keep here in the office. And then this is the actual complete one that we keep in the house. And I have read both multiple times. I actually really like 1001 Nights. Also, there's like this 2001 movie or something, 1001 Nights, that like my mom had pirated on VHS and then like DVD, and it is fucking stunning, and I love it more than life itself.
If you guys need some context to the 1001 Arabian Nights and you don't know, 1001 Arabian Nights is the source story that Aladdin and the Genie of the Lamp came from.
Also, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves.
That's the other big one.
Even though Sinbad was already codified in other stories before
it was
the Arabian Nights, Sinbad's journeys were included in the Arabian Nights. It's basically all of those sort of Middle Eastern, Indian, some Chinese even, folk tales. So obviously we're talking about Scheherazade, who is both a character and storyteller inside of the 1001 Nights, right? So the way that the story goes is that the Sultan Shahryar said that he would marry a new virgin every night, and he would kill them during the night because they didn't amuse or please him, and he was afraid of betrayal. Right?
For context, I believe this is after a wife actually betrayed him.
Yes, this is after a wife betrayed him by getting with his brother and attempting to murder him. And so...
emotional damage?
So Scheherazade is chosen to marry the Sultan, and she begs him to be able to tell one last bedtime story to her younger sister, Dunyazad, right? And so the night starts out, and she starts telling her sister this story, and the way that Scheherazade spins these stories is so that they all kind of connect to one another. Like, she starts telling a story, and even when the story finishes, it's like, is that over? Well, no. Now, you see, remember that uncle that I told you about from this story. This is important. And she continues the story, and so each morning, it would come to be morning, and the Sultan would ask, is the story over?
I just consulted the Wikipedia, but I wanted to also make sure to note that Scheherazade married she volunteered to marry.
Yeah, she volunteered.
Yeah.
Because she saw all the women dying, and she was like, I can...
This was a deliberate plan.
Yeah, and so she keeps telling these stories, and every morning she stops. And she always makes sure to stop in the middle of a story so that the Sultan has to come back the night after. And she tells these stories for 1001 nights, and by the 1001st night, when she runs out of stories, the Sultan has fallen in love with her. I mean, that's like 2.5 years, IRL. Interestingly enough, there's actually a quote about her from one of the people who have translated 1001 Nights. It says, Scheherazade had perused the books, annals, and legends of preceding kings, and the stories, examples, and interests of bygone man and things. Indeed, it was said that she had collected 1,000 books of histories relating to antique races and departed rulers. She had perused the works of the poets and knew them by heart. She had studied philosophy and the sciences, arts, and accomplishments. And she was pleasant and polite, wise and witty, and well-read. And that was a comment from one of the translators who translated 1001 Nights, writing about her. So we don't have a author for the 1001 Nights. Because it's more kind of a collection of stories. Some of them are, you know, first found in the story of 1001 Nights, but some existed before then. Yeah. And interestingly enough, Scheherazade's name is actually thought to come from 2 Arabic words. Sheher, meaning lineage, and Azad, meaning noble or exalted. So, you know, it's her name, but it also means, like, noble lineage, basically. I love the 1001 Nights story so much. I'm sorry. I love it. I love it. I love it. I was so excited for Scheherazade when I heard she was a servant. Knick-Knack is ducking down, and I am worried. Is this going to be a Julius Caesar situation?
So this is one of the most infamous servants in FGO. This one, character-wise, felt assassinated in her introduction. And they later rectified that, by the way. I'll go over like some of the way. I'll give my little Knick-Knack analysis here, but design-wise, there's conversation to be had.
you would think that this would be like Persian inspired ish, Persian Indian.
There's some inspiration there. I'm building this up, aren't I?
Do I want to see this?
No,
Oh,
and I
God.
told you didn't, but you wanted this added to the schedule upon hearing that challenge. If you remember the context of us including Scheherazade here.
That does sound like me.
You ready?
No, do it. No.
Let me pull up her.
Honestly, that's not the worst I've seen in terms of Fate. It's certainly... So it's a look. Pretty sure I've seen that sold on Adam and Eve. I think the part that bothers me most is it kind of looks like she's in blackface. I don't know what it is, but like the skin color doesn't look natural.
It doesn't look quite right.
And I think it's because the shading. I think the shading is making her look gray in some places, and it just doesn't look right.
Now, before I show you the full... Oh, yeah, there's this.
Okay, there's a lot on display.
You want to see...
You know, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. There's a lot on display, and you have to think that, like, oh my fucking god, you just knocked the entire monitor. This is the same problem that some people have with Jasmine, right? Is if you look back to the era that, like, Jasmine and Scheherazade come from, the places where they come from are Muslim nations, predominantly. Like, they are usually ruled by Muslim leaders. And this is like a historical fantasy of what people, like, people didn't dress like this.
No.
If you were the wife of, like,
No.
the Shah, you know? Like, if you were the wife of the Sultan, one of his, like, you would not normally dress like this.
She's a... Let's show the April Fool's art here.
I somehow like that less.
Now, you want me to show you something I know will truly piss you off? Let's see her sprite. Look at those heels.
Oh, that just looks uncomfortable. This looks like somebody's porno hentai version.
Yeah.
Of Scheherazade. I like the night sky in her hair. I'm really trying to
find stuff here. It's a design.
It's a choice was made. Choices were made.
Stylized.
Yeah.
You saw her current arts.
Oh boy. That's
okay. So
certainly an art.
Yeah.
My dude, you want a knot?
I don't got anywhere else to put my arm. So, why did I write that chapter? That's the chapter she was in my notes. I wrote that she was in... Yeah, she was in Agartha.
Oh, she was in Tokugawa Restoration, too.
Yes. I'll get to that, actually. So, her appearance in Agartha was unfortunate, because that was... I've said it multiple times in both the Woo and the Penthesilea video. Agartha is not a well-loved chapter in the Fate community.
Yeah, I remember.
So you've got a character design that's interesting in a not well-loved chapter with a characterization that we'll get into in a second. And you've got sort of the recipe that explains why I've only got 3 tabs opened here for her.
She just doesn't have a lot on her.
No. Well, we have a lot on this one version of her because she's been around long enough, but we don't have, like, any alternate form parts of her.
Oh, okay. No summer, no nothing.
As a result of her experiences with the king, she has developed a massive fear of death. You don't spend 1,001 nights not knowing if you'll be alive the next morning if your plan is seen through.
Very true. Very
not
true.
Being strapped with some sort of deep emotional trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if the king did end up becoming a half-decent person by the end of after his own trauma.
She still thought she was gonna die every night.
Yes. So she's become obsessed with avoiding death, loathing the system of being summoned as a servant in general. Because if you think about it, every servant's got to die again at some point.
That's true. Yeah. It must be some sort of eternal torment for her.
Yeah.
I would not be happy if that was my lot in life.
I could say more about what form that takes, but that does get into more spoiler sections. Where things have sort of changed with her character is we've had both an interlude sort of character, like filler character thing that you could play if you summoned her, as well as her involvement in the Tokugawa event, which elaborated more that although she hates the servant summoning system, it's still 99% of the time a consensual contract to like actually be summoned.
Yeah.
So she is fundamentally coming out of her own free will.
Yeah.
Which means that in any given situation, she's stepping forward to be summoned, thinking there's something that can be achieved there, even if it's going to cause massive trauma.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, stat-wise, she's actually extremely weak. Her best stats are luck and NP.
Okay. As a caster, territory creation. I've gotten used to seeing that. Oh, that's fun. She creates a sleeping quarter for the sake of her own survival. Storyteller. That makes sense. I mean, just the name of it. What is it exactly?
What are you looking at here?
I'm just wondering what storyteller actually does.
So, the way that she could keep the king from wanting to kill her by telling stories, I'm pretty sure storyteller allows her to, because she had to come up with a lot of those stories on the fly for the king. It means as a storyteller, with the storyteller skill, she's capable of constantly coming up with new stories or knowing what stories would be most appealing to what audience.
Yeah. Bedchamber of survival, that makes sense. Subclass of pheromone. Using her own charm and that sort of thing. She uses a form to make an area where she has the lowest probability of death in the world. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And counter hero. I don't think I've seen that before. No,
so all three of those skills are unique skills to her, I believe. Maybe one of the servant might have them, but for the most part, I believe they're unique. That one allows her to... It allows her to keep kings. It's specifically targeted towards kings, that it can allow her to keep them from killing her. So, like, Gilgamesh wouldn't be able to kill her.
That, I was just gonna say, so I need Scheherazade in campaign. Like, desperately. Like, you agree. I need this in campaign.
Yeah.
Speaking of, campaign for the channel coming soon.
Have we finished our season finale at this point? Okay, so yeah, we announced that we're working on something.
Coming soon to a channel near you.
I gotta actually finish putting that together.
Yeah, I had a bunch of spell slots open on my computer, so I think I'm supposed to have spells, but I haven't added any.
No, you have not.
Yeah.
We'll work on that at some point. So her NP is Alflela Walela.
Alflela Walela. Okay. Being supported by Phoenix.
This is specifically to do with her actual chapter.
That makes sense.
Alflela Walela here.
That's a reality marble.
Yeah, it allows her to basically draw on, and pull people into the Arabian.
It's like the Ioniai Heteroi, except it's the Arabian Nights characters.
Yeah, kinda.
Aladdin, Alibaba. What about Sinbad? Like all those characters?
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool.
It also iterates on later versions. Like if some alteration was made to a later version, say the Aladdin movie by Disney, you could have elements of that in there as well.
Nice. Can you open that summon sheet thing? Just because I want to...
Get a good look at these designs here.
Yeah, no, that's...
See, this is really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. No, I like that. Big fan. Big fan.
So, yeah, let me go ahead and pull up the NP here. This is a very short one.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Aladdin.
Magic carpet.
Yep. Amazing. You just Hulk smash that dude. Look, I know you think that I'm just gonna be like, what the fuck? But like, as a person who has actually lost stuff down there.
Why would I be like, what the fuck to that aspect?
Like, I feel that. I feel that big time.
So, if I can go off on a knick-knack thing here on her character. That part where she, like, was facing that, like, the summoning on her own by her own consent. Mm-hmm. That was not something that was fully explained or fleshed out in her initial thing. Mm-hmm. So, you take a character who volunteered to try to stop the king from killing other women, mm-hmm. and then you say that she's terrified of death. Yeah. At the time in the chapter, that felt a little bit disrespectful to her character in the Arabian Nights.
Yeah. I can see how.
And that's why the later like little add-on addendum to that was so important to fans coming around to her character a little bit more.
I can see how it would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Not having a reasoning for why she would do that.
Yeah. So what? Oh, I think did I pull paper? No, I did. I did.
Yeah, you did. I was not a fan.
All right. So.
Such a difference between her and Murasaki.
And some extra sprites here. Mm-hmm. Is that?
It says it's a subject for the event with Nita Chris.
Oh, I know what this is. So there's a racing event where she and Nita Chris are co-racers, and this is their car.
10 out of 10. Ooh, she's got a lot of craft essences. All right, open them up.
Woman of Agartha. This is what we've seen most of them, I think.
All right. Ah, King Sharyar's chambers. To welcome morning, what was necessary was a tale. Words, pleasure, innocence, calculation, a smile, a lie, observation, instinct, imagination, knowledge, slumber, the bravery of my smart sister, the fear of death, weakness that would not let me put a knife to his throat, weakness that would not let me put a knife to my own throat. I put them all to use, and finally morning came like a miracle, and then night comes once again. Oh, that's rough. That is like
weaving a story for that long seems really hard, and it has to continuously be interesting.
One continuous interesting story, and you have to always end it somewhere in the middle that's fascinating enough for Sharyar to want to come back and find it out.
You've always got to end on a cliffhanger.
You've always got to end on a fucking cliffhanger. That is fucking rough, my dude. Sugar-coated tale.
Valentine's
Sugar-coaxed tale. A rolled chocolate cake in the shape of a scroll. It's a sweet taste, like a refined story that is sure to melt you in more ways than one. Her only wish was always to live another day, but this gift is evidence of a new kind of wish she holds. Or at least it could be. I have to say, upon doing like some like reading into Scheherazade beyond just like reading the stories, and even like in Fate, I despite the fact that I'm not the hugest fan of the art, I do really like Scheherazade. And so far the card arts have only been amazing, you know?
All Night Fever. I don't know which one. Oh, I know who that is. Is Scheherazade that person in the back? I can't tell.
Is that Nitocris in the front?
No.
Okay.
You'll learn who she is later, I think.
Oh, okay. It's all night, yeah, the Servant Fest night has just begun.
So it's just a dance party and Scheherazade's somewhere in there.
Yeah, in the mosh pit.
There's Scheherazade.
Oh.
I don't know who that is.
So, Gilding the Lily is a fun way to name this. I don't know necessarily what this is a reference to, but I know gilding a lily is a phrase that means often adding embellishments to something that's already so beautiful that it needs no embellishment. These two are truly exquisite. Exchange words and you will be transported to a dream world. Exchange glances and you will experience true ecstasy. And yet, dreams are the product of unattainable bliss. These two are precious and resplendent flowers, prizes beyond one's reach.
Hang on, I'm going to open this.
So the other person is probably someone... It's Japanese themed. Who are those four... Like, who are the four great beauties of China? Are any of them servants?
I know what event this comes from. If you close your eyes, I'll take a look.
Okay.
I know who this might be. Oh, no, those are comments. Oh, okay, no, you have not. We have not done a video on the other one.
Okay.
I know who it is, though.
Yeah, is it one of the four Chinese beauties?
No.
No, okay. It's a pretty card art, though.
Woman of Agartha. This is a tie into the manga.
Yeah, which obviously I haven't read.
Yeah, there's Scheherazade there.
Yeah.
There's the main character. There's two characters we haven't done yet. You might recognize one of them.
Is that a musketeer? Is that D'Artagnan?
No.
Oh, okay. Flooded phantasmal city and a corrupted utopia ruled by the women who inhabit it. It's the year 2000 in the subterranean caverns of Central Asia where no obvious wars or conflicts were ever recorded in this region, Chaldea, the security or... Interesting.
So there's just a setup for that chapter.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Probably to tie in with the manga.
Yeah.
Thousand Nights.
Thousand Nights. Christmas event. If your sleepless nights continue, how about this warrior? Fergus stays by your side for however long you need. What, you decline because you feel like you would be swallowed up at any moment now? So I have been rejected. However, I have a feeling that a faint smile broke out on her face. Pretty sure it wasn't my imagination.
So this is Fergus McRoyce's perspective.
Yeah, I got that!
In the event she's introduced, that's the... Or not the event, the story chapter she's introduced in, that's the same chapter that Fergus Lily, or the Fergus Child version was in. And Fergus Child version had an absolute hard-on for her.
If your sleepless nights continue, how about this warrior Fergus stays by your side for however long you need?
Fucking Fergus. Always comes back to the Celts.
Always comes back to the Celts. They are the greatest characters in all of Fate. I will accept no other.
So, yeah, that would be Castor the Nightless City or Scheherazade.
I see what you mean about...
How this character's kind of controversial.
Yeah, I don't love the art. I think it's very stereotypical of like sexualized exoticism in regards to this kind of period and area of history. And that's like super bad. Like if you saw like the anthropology major in me screams that like this is the kind of thing that I would put up on screen for a presentation about how exoticism is hurtful to cultures. Like this is the kind of image I would use for that, you know? This is the Asian equivalent of those like warrior chieftain Native American Halloween costumes that you see in like Spirit Halloween. This is the Asian Indian equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't love that. And part of the reason why I don't love it a little bit more is because specifically in this art, you can see behind her, I'm pretty sure those are the minarets of a mosque, denoting Muslim faith as the practicing religion.
It's a very weird take on a Muslim dress.
I'm not sure there's enough fabric there to call it a dress. I'm going to be real honest.
It's honestly closer in design to lingerie than dress, but let's be real here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen.
But like this art makes the implication that no, this is just how they would have dressed or how she dressed.
Yeah, and that would not have been the case. So I don't love that. I did like the allusion to the night sky in her hair in her third form. Mm-hmm. I did think that was very pretty, having to do with like her having to do a lot of things at night and be kind of, you know, like use her powers the most then. So I like it and I don't at the same time, if that makes sense.
There are aspects in here that you think are cool.
There are certain aspects, but
like something just didn't come together right in this one.
Yeah, I could really use with like a different set of arts. A little bit like how we found that hot version of Julius Caesar. A little bit like that. Yeah.
Comments if you got any like other versions of Herzog that we should have shown, let me know so I can put it in the update video. I did not see any unlike Penthesilea and Wu, which will be in the update video.
Yeah, and next month also has a theme.
It does. Sekhie, how obvious should I make this hint?
I don't know, should I pull the book out?
No, we should not pull the book out. But like, do I want Fate fans to get it, or do I want Fate fans to struggle a little bit?
I want them to struggle a little bit. I feel like you guys have been getting off a little too easy sometimes.
This is a servant that, if I'm not wrong, started off as limited in the game and later became non-limited. Make out of that as you will. That is a deep cut to FGO, I think.
Well, with that being said, like, comment, subscribe.